Welcome back from the commercial break. We continue to analyze the economic policies of our country, analyzing economic policies, that's the point. And we don't leave any stone unturned. We call upon you to join us together in this driving of business that intends to bring out information clearly and articulately by our expert guests that we bring unto you. And we are concluding in this last session with Honorable Banyizachi Henry. And he's a passionate economist and someone who is a member of the Uganda Chamber of Commerce. He is passionate with the people outside there who are facing troublesome, turbulent times of our business, operating in an environment that is so tough, where you go to buy fuel, and this fuel, it was an insight brought to us here, is being transported by these trailers which are also using fuel. And then we seem, and on the road, we seem not to be having an expectation in amidst the high cost of fuel production to have the fuel price decreasing. And the only solution, which is long term, as I'm building on the words of Honorable Banyizachi, as we continue with our discussion, would have been to have the revived railway system, and also reviving the water system, transport system, of which includes, taking into consideration by the government, because this cannot be done by an individual. Yeah, the previous active port bill, where is it? We don't going to, what are we measuring? Submit to at which again we need to look at. The reason why I bring this discussion in the perspective of macroeconomic policies, we talked about also, there was a highlight that you made, an in-depth discussion of where even our banking sector leaves a lot wanting. Banks are elsewhere. We have the financial, the bank as a business, because that's also part of the trade, yes, where we are having our other countries which we copy from, like Kenya and Tanzania, but Kenya is ahead. It has invested in that so much. Yes, and yes, in the banking sector. And for us, we are depending on our traders who are trading in the area of the financial sector, the banking sector, by bringing backs here. That's also import. We are importing. These are investors. And now for us, we have not attempted to look at that. It seems to be having a serious effect, Honorable. Yes, yes. You can come on and we conclude on that.
About the banking sector. When you have an active banking sector, like for example, the banking sector in South Sudan, as I've told you, the biggest market share being by KCB, Kenya Commercial Bank. It will facilitate its traders. It will facilitate Kenya trade to trade in South Sudan. But it will not facilitate Ugandans to go and do trade in South Sudan, because it is Kenya-centered, to be a patriotic and nationalistic call.
Yes, sir.
So will Tanzania do the same. So will Ethiopia do the same. So the Ugandan traders will remain hanging. Nobody to finance you. You come back here to get loans from the Uganda commercial banks, the commercial banks in Uganda. Interests are very high. You rush to Uganda Development Bank, it is undercapitalized. So the Kenyans will take advantage of you. So for you, that's why you see, for example, even here when you talk about the Chinese taking over business, investment and trade here in Uganda, it's because their banks in China are facilitating them they have Exim Bank of China. You go to Europe, they have Exim Bank, the European Exim Bank. You go to Italy, same story. You go to America, same story. So we need indigenous capital to facilitate our business sector, our business people, to have affordable capital which is cheap and patient to facilitate trade and investment.
We have seen the collapse of banks, especially the National Bank of Commerce, and of which of recent, I'm coming to you, of recent they were able to win a court case so that they are able to have their bank again. Do you think this will be realized?
You know, that question, I'm not going to answer it, but Bank of Uganda has more to answer as to why it has not nurtured domestic banks. I hope you have listened to Sruma, call Sruma here to discuss that question. Dr. Sruma, the son of Rwanda, where we hail from. Ask him to come here and explain to you. He will put it squarely to the Bank of Uganda as to have killed the indigenous banks instead of grooming them. So if you are going to kill the indigenous banks, the domestic banks, and you are relying on foreign banks, our economy cannot be developed by the foreign banks. You don't expect a bank from South Africa, from Europe, from wherever, from China, from India, to come and develop our economy here. It will make our economy, the very addition processes that we are talking about, they will not. They will make you, they are producers for their countries. Where you will be producing coffee and exporting it to Germany, they add value, they bring it back and they sell 10 times the price they bought it. So they'll be facilitating you to export raw materials and you import finished products. Oh, that is what is lacking. Because for us, we do not have banks to facilitate Ugandans to do the full value chain.
The full value chain?
Yes. So when you see the full value chain, you will have done the investment, you will have facilitated trade, you will facilitate intra-trade. Then if you don't have that kind of thing, you end up exporting maize to Kenya and importing cornflakes from Kenya for Ugandans. You think Uganda here we can't make cornflakes? In every hotel, in every home of a middle income person, there are cornflakes made in Kenya. And we export our maize there. We export our barley to Kenya to go and make beer. And we import those beer back here.
Back here to Uganda.
Yes. So the whole thing is that we need to go back to the drawing table. So the issue of saying Kenya is better than us because it's on the coast, no. I have already told you that for us, we do not balance our investments. Our investments are more in other areas of consumptive, which are not productive, and the Kenyans are in two productive areas. Here I told you we put much money in security.
I will ask you very soon to
we need security, yes, but we need to balance.
I will ask you
money we put into defense and the money we put into agriculture. We need to balance. You put 1 trillion in agriculture, put 1 trillion in defense.
1 trillion,
but you don't put 4 trillion in defense, and then you put 800 million in agriculture, and you expect your country to grow, your economy to grow. Your economy will be, all it will be that fighting, buying guns, buying tear gas, buying war planes. Okay, fine, go and fight. You have secured you're a Pan-Africanist. But as you are being a Pan-Africanist, securing their peace, the other Pan-Africans, they are just coming behind and doing trade behind you. And they will not wake you up. Kenyans are not going to wake us up that we are doing business in South Sudan, in Congo.
Honorable, don't you think,
wherever we are.
Don't you think when your statements were suffocated not to say all this good knowledge?
Well, I said
Did you leave it? Did
I
you leave
said
it
what
there?
I said there, but I could have been a wrong voice.
A wrong voice?
Yes. And if you are alone, you cannot say it.
What you are saying is much more desirable to us. And we look at it as you are communicating, I say, maybe you are...
We need many more people. We need more voices there.
More voices?
Yes, yes.
So while looking at...
If you look, you know, His Excellency said he has, what do you call, fishermen and fisherwomen.
I think that he means people who are ready to work. It's not necessarily that they are fishermen anyway. It's a language.
They are skilled people.
Fishermen who can do a very good work.
No.
Is he meaning, because I do believe by saying that it is giving a responsibility of people who are ready to work.
No man, if you are going to fish and using these fishermen of Lake Victoria, and others are fishing using cruises, you think you'll be in the same market?
Okay, let's continue with our topical discussion.
If you have cruise fishers.
Dear viewers and listeners, we are making an evaluation of Uganda's transport and trade sector. And we have exhaustively, much as will come another time to go deeper beyond this, because another time maybe if I will get an opportunity to invite the IGG to tell us like one area which we didn't exhaust on how we have lost 1 trillion.
Actually, Kurusruman tell you how to revitalize the banking sector.
Yes, the banking sector, and also how we have lost 1 trillion under the Uganda railway, right? And also, of course, even over time, there was a challenge also with the Uganda airline. The airline,
we are making losses.
It has suffered also losses.
Yes.
And some of these losses are issues of management and accountability.
Of course.
So we do beseech you, those who are managing these sectors, especially who are playing a role of administration and management, to come and give accountability to the countrymen and give us a hope how we can do it best. Leaving that aside, we would like to look at the trade. The nature of trade is currently worrying. You've already talked about the banking sector, but there is the retail trade, the wholesale trade, the import trade, and the export trade. That those who are dealing in transportation of goods beyond these borders, and even those who are going to Dubai to import some commodities. And the environment surrounding this also remains questionable. When you go to the market and you try to bargain, everyone will tell you, you know what is happening. And the answer from the political class, especially the headship of the political class, that's the presidency, is that we tighten our belts. Mm-hmm. And I do go back not for critiquing his point, because maybe he was meaning that we should be able to economize, as they normally say.
Are they themselves tightening
using scarce resources better? Mm. But to us in our analysis, how best can we do it?
Let me be a moderator for once. Mm-hmm. Are those who are telling us to tighten our belt tightening theirs?
At the same time, you will provide the answer, because you are because you are the one who has the answer. You have the question and the answer.
Okay, let's go ahead. So, of course they are not.
So now realizing,
talking about the consumptive expenditure.
The consumptive expenditure.
Yes, vis-a-vis expenditure into productive sector.
What are we supposed to be dealing with in the trade? What are we having the potential to trade outside? And how can we make it possible?
We have told you
to manage this.
Limitations. Mm-hmm. We have been talking about transport. We cannot, for example, export our maize to Malawi, which is a very good market, or Zimbabwe, because Uganda will have 2 seasons of maize. Those southern countries have only 1 season of maize. So for them, when they produce 1 season of maize, their maize is finished. For us, we have a 2nd season when we are producing. But we cannot trade our maize to South Sudan, to this Southern Africa, because of transport systems. We do not have the railway system that can take our maize up to the wrong way, up to Malawi, up to Zambia, up to Zimbabwe. Okay? Because they have only 1 season.
What are your final recommendations so that we can stabilize?
The final recommendation is to have to facilitate and have an infrastructure that facilitates intra-trade. That is railway, that is cargo transport system, that is water transport system, that is financing which is affordable. We have a development bank, development and trade bank, which is viable, which is well capitalized, not having this Uganda Development Bank, which is undercapitalized.
What's the last word on industry to facilitate trade? Industry remains low in bringing out productivity.
We are not industrialized. Our industries, our value addition processes are very low because of lack of capital.
And capital is located somewhere.
Capital to invest into those processes. Because we do not have capital to invest into those processes, we have created a vacuum as Ugandans, and the foreigners, Chinese for example, are coming to occupy that space. As they occupy that space, still the situation remains undesirable.
What's your last word?
We would be processing our coffee, we would be processing our cotton, we would be processing our maize.
Thank you.
So my last word is that with the Uganda, let's have enough investment into this full value chain, industrialization. We create more jobs through industrialization. Had we had created jobs through industrialization, we wouldn't be exporting our young boys and young girls to go and do jobs of house girls and housekeepers. They are going as slaves. They would be remaining here into the productive sector. We would be having, we should even invest more into skills development, be having more engineers, having more doctors, have more technicians, have more people to do this technical.
Thank you. All has been well said. Thank you, Honorable Banyezachi. You've been missing, here in action, and you have done well. These have been straightforward points submitted and forwarded by Honorable Banyezachi, the former state minister in the President's office in the economic, for economic monitoring. And we appreciate so much. I pray if you were in the various system to make all this happen, it would have been a great impact. But also, all being said, we appreciate for your patriotic submissions that continue to contribute us.
The transition that is working on transition. You pray very hard that his dream becomes a reality.
Which Mao?
And we come into the
transiting into what?
That there's another. He has going to work on a transition into another government.
Let's hope it happens. That's it for Polycon. This is for the point. And
okay.
Dear guests, please, dear viewers, please, God bless you. Thank you for being with us on SMART24 TV. We continue to encourage and to state that being part of the evolving society requires honest discussions that can be able to contribute toward the economic transformation of humanity. God bless you. Good night.
Amen.